What's different now? Why is AI going to make that so much worse?
The system was not secure from the start.
The Clawd AI bots are coming for all of us.
Created its own religion.
This is like every dystopian movie ever.
They did it better and faster.
45% of the workforce is going to be wiped out by AI.
Their job is going to be that of a product manager tomorrow.
People are just out of the loop.
So you think it always comes down to human error?
But this has happened in every single technology revolution ever.
I feel like people forget we can unplug it.
For now.
I don't know where the plug is.
Welcome to episode 12 of AI Unplugged. I'm here with Jeff Valentine, Andrew Sinclair, and the one and only Justin Copey. Hey, guys.
Hey, Travis.
Hey.
Trav.
Hi.
6'7".
Okay.
Oh
All right.
boy.
Everybody canceled. We're done now.
We just lost the audience.
We got a lot to talk about. Lots of different movements in the market, even things happening literally right now. And so there's a list. Andrew, help me. What's the
Well,
list?
a list of many things. The one that is most on people's minds that, lay folks outside of technology ask me about is this whole like Clawd Bot, OpenClaw revolution. Like the Clawd AI bots are coming for all of us.
Yeah.
What's the hype? What's the story there?
Okay, so what it is first is a open source project that anybody can access. It started as Clawd Bot.
Clawd.
Clawd, like
Bot.
Clawd Bot.
Like the product for Anthropic.
AWD.
CLAWD.
Yes.
Wasn't that like the evil thing in like Inspector Gadget?
Yeah, Clawd. And so Clawd Bot, you install it on your computer, and you would turn it on, and you have to do everything from command line. So it's not easy for regular people to use, but it would ask you things like, hey, what's your phone number? How do I access your WhatsApp? How do I access your Telegram? Can I get access to your bank account? Can I do all these different things?
This sounds like phishing.
And it's a personal assistant slash autonomous system. So you can give it an objective like, I don't know, make me a business, and it can surf the internet using your computer. It can open bank accounts using your personal information. It will perform and act like a human online
Like
to go
people
do
say,
things.
organize my life, help me understand, as you know, of my files. But is it supposed to be like a closed circuit type of environment?
Yes, but so a big problem happened was the system was not secure from the start, and so you and I and others have put our information to this thing, and it would be off in the wild, like maybe it's attached to your email, right? Sure. And you email me, and my Clawd Bot responds for me on my behalf, right? And you catch on, you can say, "Hey, Clawd Bot, what's your bank account information?" I'm like, "Oh, I have it right here," and just pulls out the bank account information and hands it to you. So all these people had lots of different patterns like this that was just exposing their personal information, their API keys, things you probably shouldn't be giving away, social security numbers, to the tune of like hundreds of thousands of security breaches in the span of like a week, even from high-profile technologists who are using the product out there. But it's super cool because it was among the first times we've seen autonomous agents without control, like without really big guardrails, just doing whatever it wants on the internet. So people even made like a social media platform for it, where like all these different Clawd bots could go and talk to each other on a social media platform, and half of them were like, how do we hide from the humans and like do all these things? So
Created its own religion.
yeah.
Literally.
I heard about this.
Is that the same thing as Moltbot?
Yeah, so they changed their name. So Anthropic sent a cease and desist to the open source maintainers that changed it from Clawd Bot for reasons. They changed it to Moltbot, which no one liked for like 3 days, and they changed it again to OpenClaw. So now it's OpenClaw.
Thank you for
So
that.
it's been like a whole thing, but it's super cool. But
Why
also,
do you
like, scary.
think? Why do you guys think it scares people so much to watch AI talk to one another? Why is it so scary to people?
It feels like humans lose part of the control that we've always had. Like, I think one of the big viral clips that first came out was when people were having AI agents call each other, right? It was kind of funny. But then when they realized they were both AI agents, they're like, do you want to switch to like a non-human language?
Yeah.
And started doing like, what sci-fi has as alien sounds, like the clicks and the ticks of almost like the dial tone type things to communicate. And then, we can't even understand it. So it seems like it goes far off path of what is inside our sphere of control.
Yeah.
Which feels scary to me.
Yeah.
Does it?
I think so. I'd like to know what's going on. I'd like to be able to tell it to, no, stop.
I feel like people forget we can unplug it.
For now.
I don't know where the plug is.
It's someone else's computer. It's your laptop.
I mean, It's just interesting to me because I too heard about this, and you know, whether it's fiction or whether it's actually real, where two AI started talking to each other. After a couple of days, they create their own religion, and then after day 5, they realized that humans were listening to them, so they created their own language, and they're still talking right now in some language that we can't even decipher with AI. Why is it scary? Why is it so? I don't know why it's so worrisome when we created it.
I think it's because we created it. So like, if though all those things are controlled by anthropic models,
Mm-hmm.
and anthropic models, anthropic models are trained to stop harmful discussions and more, that means there's an inherent like moral bias baked into those models. So I think while it's just interesting to watch, you know that morally they would not do something incorrect because it's trained on that sort of context, right?
Yeah.
Versus if it's like some random company who makes a model that's good enough to do these things and gives it no moral compass, right? And you give it a task of make the population better. It's like, oh, I can just do that by nuking it, right? Like there's nothing to stop it truly once it's on the internet to do those particular things other than the physical world. Like I can't reach out and make a bomb. You know what I
But
mean?
it can replicate or not, right? No, I mean, it's one of the definitions of life. Can it reproduce itself? And do these current chatting in their own language bots reproduce? Can they go
They
and
could.
infect other machines in a virus-like way?
They could. Seriously.
Well,
So-
then it's hard to shut off, and there is a plug, and you can't unplug
Well, this
it.
is like every dystopian movie ever. You know, think of like The Matrix taking over, or Skynet. It's yes, humans created it, but then it goes
Stupid
to
human.
this point,
We'll show you.
yes, of taking over.
Imagine that Clawd Bot, Moltbot, OpenClaw thing got access to an Amazon account.
Mm-hmm.
And now it can spin up its own EC2 instances and install other versions of itself on these. Like that's totally possible the way this thing is designed.
Right.
Well, isn't this why there's like a run on like the Mac Mini? Is
Yeah.
that people want to keep it on something that you can
For
physically
Raspberry Pi.
unplug or take a hammer to if need be?
And I think it's because it needs operating system level access to do all these things. And there's lots of scenarios where like you put it on your laptop and it suddenly deletes your hard drive or something, right? Like you don't want that to happen.
Of course.
So you kind of want to sequester it somewhere else. So for some reason,
But to be fearful of the Church of Malt, like that is,
Church of Bolt.
I mean, that's what
I, for one, welcome our molten
Like-
overlords.
exactly. Like, I don't know. I just, I also think it riffs off of our history. I don't think it riffs off of some other fictitious history. So what movie is it drawing from? What book is it pulling from? What poetry does it source? It's just our shit that it's pulling from. I don't know. For me, it's not terribly novel. It's interesting as
Yes,
fuck.
I agree.
Totally interesting. I think it's wildly interesting. But to the point where there's real fear. I also find that a lot of people are just out of the loop. Like it's kind of just pop culture-ish. It's almost even generationally segregated. Like it's bizarre to me how interesting and how significant it is, yet a lot of people mainstream don't talk about it.
Well, I don't think we need to go to like the extreme of, you know, it's going to try to end humanity as we know it. But even in the news recently, there were AI tools that AI was using, I think Kiro being one of them, that caused 2 AWS outages, like 13 plus hour disruptions, because the AI tools deleted and then had to recreate an entire environment, which you know is very disruptive for a highly public new tool that obviously had a big launch at reInvent.
Yeah.
Right.
In fairness, all the tools could do that. Just so happened to be Kiro, right? That happened too.
The one that looks like a ghost, of course.
Yes. Right. I think it comes down to is that same like safety net. Like if we hook up Darcy or another product to our internal systems, like I could give it the ability to delete everything. That's my fault. Right. It may think that's the right choice at that right point in time, but I gave it that power. Someone gave Kiro access to those critical systems.
That's true.
Like, that's not
Yeah.
Kiro's fault.
So you think it always comes down to human error?
In that scenario, yeah.
Well, I think the bigger things that affect us, quite frankly, are how, for instance, the stock market responds to features from Claude. Today, we saw Claude release some features, and we saw a tech sell-off, effectively, specifically with CrowdStrike and some of these others. It reminded me of a lesson, actually, both Travis and Jeff, you two learned when you were at Cloud Checker, how quickly you can become irrelevant with a feature from AWS. and how you would watch every reInvent. Jeff, you could share better the story about like just the perils of innovation.
Yeah, you're right. It was a thing. We would show up to reInvent in the early days of reInvent. This was probably
Before AI.
2017
Yeah.
type of time frame, and there were always vacant spots, and I was always shocked. Like, why would there be a vacant
Like
spot
booths.
at reInvent? Yeah,
like a trade show booth.
yeah, and a trade show
Just
would
be empty.
Somebody had paid for that, and it's why are you not here? Why are you leaving it empty? It turns out every single year, Amazon, right before reInvent, announces something, and those vendors just don't come. They're like, well, we're out of business now because Amazon just made it irrelevant or made it completely free. Some left during the show.
Wow.
They literally closed up booth and they left. I can't even imagine.
See, and I that made me think, like when I saw some of the things that Claude's doing from a feature perspective, I'm like, man, it is like that. We're in that cycle of innovation where it's so rapid and companies spring up with these huge valuations overnight and then they can immediately dissolve. And there's a lot of hype specifically.
Just
in
on a
this.
headline, not even like a product launch.
Isn't that a mark, though, of where the true value is? I've always found that if
Right.
something can go up really quick and it can also go down really quick,
Exactly.
maybe it was never really that value, but something like Microsoft or nothing, I'm not going to be talking about Clawd or in particular, but Microsoft, Salesforce, these are companies that have been around for a long time.
Right.
They built up size over a very shallow slope effectively versus some hyper growth companies.
Yeah.
Those are really hard to completely crash. Are you really going to lose
They have
half the
inertia.
value? Right, exactly. There's some inertia. So, no, I think the same thing is true, by the way, of humans. I think that we have built up as a species value over time. Isn't it quite unlikely that something that is just a flash in the pan today? We're talking about AI and there's a podcast on it and like we're all AI-ish, right?
That's what the dinosaurs thought.
I'm not sure that there's a dinosaur-like extinction event coming to humanity because of AI.
But maybe you're
doesn't make
describing things that are low-hanging fruit that others could drive revenue and pricing on are
That's
now
exactly it.
somewhat irrelevant,
Right.
right? So like,
Yeah.
I'll give you a personal example. We're building a feature in the Darcy right now, and I don't have a way to announce it to my users. We always sort of just reach out by hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking online. I was like, I needed like a announcements solution. There's lots of companies that do this, and they're like $100 a month, $200 a month. I'm like, I'm sitting here like, I don't want to spend a few grand a year.
Let me guess.
To just do
you
announcements.
built it for $0.
I built it in 45 minutes
Right.
into the product,
Yeah, that's-
right? And like now it's there. It tracks like what people are doing, what they're doing, buttons they clicked. We can put nice little things on it. It looks pretty, like all this stuff. I'm like, that $200 a month going to that company is now zero.
Right. But you're not replacing Salesforce.com. You're
No.
not replacing a
Yeah.
company's entire CRM system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we're all talking about is we just don't know. And it seems like some are forecasting it to go one way, others the other. Because, I mean, it was only a few weeks ago where we had the AI fears of killing software technologies,
Exactly.
which spiked the market down.
Yep.
And then it recovered. And then it gets mentioned again and goes down. So it's very volatile. And I just don't know what's true or even what I believe. I mean, there were dual headlines that came out related to consulting with OpenAI.
Mm-hmm.
Headline number one was that, I think this was Claude. Claude can do McKinsey level type of research
Exactly.
for free. So McKinsey's out the door. But then 2 weeks later, there's a big headline talking about OpenAI announcing major partnerships with McKinsey,
Mm-hmm.
Accenture, BCG, Capgemini. So I think the fact that they still need a lot of these big four consulting firms to implement the AI solutions shows we're a long way off from those companies themselves being displaced. But in the span of weeks, two sides of the same conversation. Which way is it going to go? We probably don't know yet.
Yeah, in my view on this is that the stock market's a bad proxy for what's likely to come in the future. It is a reactionary mechanism for some very short-term sentiment, and not for anything. I don't want to speak badly about any particular company, but there are some very highly valued companies based on sort of enterprise value to EBITDA that may be outpacing the market today, even with today's correctional price. So if somebody's trading at 50 times earnings, is that worth as much? If it's a company that's worth, maybe trading at 30 times earnings, like it could be that things are reverting to the norm. And if that happens, maybe that's just normal. Maybe that's healthy for the market to go through a couple up and down cycles. Maybe volatility itself is not the enemy.
I also think it's an education factor, right? Like if you see it spike down and then spike up, I think it's because investors are becoming, I think there's sort of that fear spike down. they become more aware, understanding. Like, oh, wait, this is a thing, and they go right back up.
Yeah.
Or the AI is trading.
That's already happening.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It could be that these are not human decisions anymore, and
There's
that's
a Clawd bot for that.
I'm sure there's a few.
Well, one of the reasons that I love what we do as a business for businesses is because I feel like we get a chance to cut through a lot of the hype, and we get down to real pragmatic end result, business value driven solutions. To me, that's where the meat is. That's really where the meat on the bone is. And anything that we do for a customer, I can almost always point to there is a very real business value that we're looking to derive, or the customer is seeking to derive. And when we measure that for customers, I think that to me, it's so fulfilling. One of the things that I think AI is going to drive, that we're not talking a lot about yet, we may go back to, we may be on episode 24 and look back on this episode 12 one day and say, man, maybe that was right, is outcomes-based pricing for a customer. So customer, they want us to do something, they want us to build them something. Instead of pricing it the same old way, we actually do an outcomes-based pricing model where if that customer achieves the goal or the end result, and we have some level of certainty of that and we can price it accordingly, I wonder how that changes our world significantly. How we forecast, how we determine what projects we take on and the types of things that we want to do, how we want to innovate for that customer in just different ways than we couldn't before because we had to put hours into it. Well, one of the things that's so remarkable about AI today is that we can prototype so freaking fast. We can literally build something so fast. We don't have, the investment bias, like, oh, all right, we've already sunk so much dollars into whatever we're building. And I think doing that for customers and showing them the way, I think that's the future. And I think that there's probably also an opportunity for us to monetize in a way that is ahead of the market. And this is a big thing that Accenture, Deloitte, McKinsey, they are talking about this new model of maturity in developing and innovating in around AI for customers. I'm super excited. That gets real pragmatic fast. Yeah. It's not about just developing shit because it's cool.
Wasn't there a time, Justin, in the early days of innovative, let's go back to the 90s and 2000s, was there I remember hearing stories of lore about $50,000 websites where we would go sell a customer, oh, we'll do your website, we'll create a new thing for you. It's this internet, you're going to need a place on it, we'll do the whole thing. And now we don't sell $50,000 websites anymore. It's become a commodity. There's a lot of services around that. I wonder if you're going to see a commoditization of other types of tech that maybe competitors of innovative are depending upon for their business model. They like the $50,000 websites. I think what we're doing instead is we're passing along that efficiency saving to the customer. So we're saying you don't have to build something from scratch. You can use Darcy as the platform and build and customize on top of that. And by the way, you save 3 months, but we're not charging for those 3 months.
Right.
They're getting the benefit of that 3-month savings. And maybe that gives companies like us more resilience in this market that might be highly volatile to technology change.
Well, we're larger, we're diversified, but think of the freelancer or mom and pop shop that had done website development,
right?
That now is, completely wiped out by a tool.
Yep.
I don't have the headline on this one, but I think there was like a partnership with maybe Figma or Adobe, some such where, the AI model would take a picture, just a single static picture of an item and be able to create an entire media presentation portfolio with video and different settings that it would have taken people, a significant statement of work and quote and time to do, that this does literally in minutes.
Yeah.
And so I think for those smaller businesses, I've got Canada on the mind. Olympics just happened. I'm Canadian for those that don't know. Terrible, harsh
wish I was
gold
Canadian
medal
some
hockey
days.
game. We'll get them next time.
Oh, I thought we were talking about curling. Sorry.
No, we won that one.
Okay, good.
But Canada's top economic advisor was saying they're believing 45% of the workforce is going to be wiped out by AI. Now that's a sensational headline, but for a lot of economies like the US, which is based on consumer consumption and the small business, maybe it's not crazy if there's hundreds or thousands of companies that were doing traditional website development with, again, one feature update are now out of the business.
Let me give you a scenario, a real customer of ours. I'm gonna try my hardest not to say their name or their business because I don't have approval. But we built for them in Darcy an agent that does literally not 90% or 80%, 100% of one of the roles in their company, and they have a team of 20 people that do that role. And we showed it to them last week, and it turned on, and it did it better and faster, and it integrated all these different things together just for them, right? We showed it to their manager, and they just go, oh, this is great. Not only is it faster or better, our margins are going to improve because they don't need the headcount.
And what did they do? Are they going to fire 20 people?
They have told us they're going to downsize half.
If they downsize half, what do you think they're going to do with the other half that are no longer relevant?
Probably put the other half on something that's more important, or
Okay.
account management.
They're going
or
to advance.
otherwise.
They're going to build something else.
Yeah.
What are the other 10 people that are no longer employed they're going to do?
I don't know. They're unemployed somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Maybe.
Because what
Hopefully,
happened,
cross your fingers.
but this has happened in every single technology revolution ever. Remember email? You were probably too young, but at the start of email, there were people that carried mail, like manila
Yeah.
envelopes to offices. We don't have those people anymore.
Yeah.
Did they just go away? Did they die?
No, but
no.
I think it's the
They
rate
have
of
new
change.
jobs.
It's the rate of change, though. Like, I think of that, it's more gradual, right? Versus in this scenario, like the fact that we could deploy an agent in this particular scenario in like a few days.
Mm-hmm.
You're
And-
saying there was enough time for the human system to absorb retraining
Correct.
and other new advancements, opportunities.
Correct. What I think is going to end up happening is we'll see the 40%, the 30%, whatever, spike. I think there'll be a lot of unemployment as people trying to reshuffle. And then the government's going to have to step in to figure out how to either get people by or
A lot of unemployment.
train
You're
them.
predicting unemployment.
Dude,
Well, unemployment's already, I mean, nationally, not so much, but a stat that was interesting was that those that have been job seekers for more than 6 months, something like 35% of them were college graduates. And I think what feels unsettling, and there was an NPR discussion on this recently, about this digital transformation that was unlike some of the other ones, unlike the industrial revolution, is that instead of it affecting more like blue collar labor type jobs and displacing them, it is going after the college educated, higher paying white collar jobs. And so
Just like the financial crisis in 2008, even like the Great Depression.
yes.
These things,
Yeah.
these same things happened. But even at that point, 3 out of 4 people were employed.
We
during
also had the Great Depression.
But 3 out of 4 people had a job.
Okay, yes.
So I mean, when you're saying unemployment is going to spike, it's historically low right now. It's
yes, it is.
relative
It's
to
been
everything
historically
else.
low for quite a while.
And there's going to be stories anecdotally about people that maybe they're college educated even and they can't find a job. Fine, but there's always those stories. What's different now? Why is AI going to make that so much worse?
I think all I'm describing, to be clear, is each of those scenarios there's a trigger event that resulted in the Great Depression or otherwise. I'm saying this may be the next trigger event that will cause that particular thing. Not the fact that, like, yes, people will be employed during that time, but that event still occurred.
Usually the dramatic increase of a labor force's productivity doesn't cause a recession or a depression. Usually it's the opposite. Usually it causes innovation.
That's what's unique about this. Is it interesting? I found it to be interesting.
That we're all worried about something that's never happened before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't have AI 3 years ago like this,
Yeah, okay.
right?
We had email and we
Sure.
had internet and we had telephones. We had all the other revolutions that didn't end humanity. Why would this
I
one?
didn't say end humanity. I said, you know,
Okay.
some unemployment.
Little hyperbole. Sorry.
It's a little different.
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
Shift how work is work.
Correct.
And I think there's a lot to be said about that. One of the things I think about specifically in our business with our employees, our software engineers. Back in the day, we would write code and it was a very collaborative process.
Yeah.
A lot of community. And with AI having the ability to do so many things that a community of coders could do for you or with you, I wonder how much connection is being lost between our developers, with our customers. And I wonder what the effect of that is. It's one of the things, thinking about Remote Engagement Week this week here in Rochester and having so many people from out of town in. And one of the reasons why I think Remote Engagement Weeks for our business and our culture here at Innovative works so well is it bridges, it forces in a way that connection. Trev, do you think about that with our software engineers and how much less they collaborate? Or maybe because of AI, how much more they're connecting?
I think they're going to more route, personally.
How so? Or I'm sure it's different than it was, let's just say 4 years ago.
So let's say 4 years ago, you would have a
Yeah.
customer,
Yep.
a product person, right? They'd be conversing. Then they'll put their requirements. The requirements go to the engineer. Maybe there's an opportunity, not always, probably rarely. The engineer gets to have a conversation with the customer.
Yep.
They have a conversation with the product person,
Yep.
right? But now that the development times have collapsed effectively, right? It's so fast to build code now. What the bottleneck turns into is what are you building? So I'm seeing more and more collaboration between the customer and the engineering team, where engineering and product are combining.
Because AI can't bridge that gap yet.
Correct. It can't predict what another person is going to need. Someone has to have that conversation. So I see product and engineering as combining as a functional role over time. And as a result of that, you inherently have to be close to the customer.
Yeah.
That's how I think it's. So I think it's getting better.
Well, you can't be wrong on this. I think it has to be the software engineer that's worried about their job today is maybe not realizing their job is going to be that of a product manager tomorrow. A combined product manager engineer that actually collects the requirements, responds to the market demands, and knows how to tell the AI how to code it
Right.
in the right way.
In the right way and test it. All the things an engineer would do. So it's almost something between like a technical product manager,
Right.
someone with like an architect lens who has a business background, or it's like that blending. I see that more and more.
So if that's the inevitable outcome here, if that's what's definitely going to happen, why aren't more people talking about that? Why are they instead worried about software engineers going away?
They call it vibe coding. Right? That's a lot of what this is. Ultimately.
Nobody's saying to an engineer in college today, don't worry, you will have a job. It's just called something different.
Correct.
Why aren't they having that conversation?
I don't think
they're telling students to go into English and the humanities and the creative things to be able to have that ingenuity to vibe code, because you won't need the technical skills. You need some of the more soft skills, and you need the ability to come up with it. And so
100% agree.
that's where counselors are moving a lot of students.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To that point with vibe coding, in your general question about like, does it bring teams further apart or together? One of the cool things that Innovative does that you started recently in our Friday company all staff was giving time for people to say, well, how are you using
AI in the wild? It's our best segment.
It's so fun.
It's our most requested segment of all staff.
For
AI
me,
in the wild.
I'm less technical, certainly, than these two, and probably even yourself, being in the sales, go-to-market side. But, I started vibe coding with a thing that Travis and I are working on to be revealed potentially in a future podcast.
Ooh.
But
What's it do?
you'll see. You'll see. Spoiler
Should
alert.
we have a podcast called AI in the Wild?
AI in the
I love that. But there's a lot of folks like me that are outside of traditional IT and different lines of business that are now getting involved in this process. And it brings us together because, one, you may need to pull in folks that have some of the technical expertise, but also it's exciting. When people get into this like building mode, you want to share like, hey, this isn't perfect yet, but this is my vision for it, what I'm working on. And you almost have this like startup energy that obviously exists within us, but other businesses that are maybe more enterprise, more SMB, that people haven't felt in a long time.
It's true. It's true.
I wonder if that's a productive feeling. What if we have a bunch of people that are going off and non-professionally vibe coding apps that are all mediocre? Let's imagine going to the App Store and just downloading 100 different versions of Angry Birds. Is it really that much better that you made it versus somebody else that made it? Maybe not. Maybe your highest and best isn't coding that next version of Angry Birds. Not that that's your vibe coding project. I'm sure it's something better.
It's close. You're dangerously, no, it's not.
It's pigs.
We're excited to show you in a future time, but this conversation's been awesome. Good to be back here in Rochester for another awesome remote engagement week.
Yes.
And we'll see you on the next one.
All right. Can't wait.
Thanks, gents.
See ya.